Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope everything's good wherever you are. Eddie Hearn. I was watching one of Eddie Hearn's interviews and he was talking about Saul Canelo Alvarez and he basically defending Canelo. A lot of people, before we get into this video, smash the like button. Let's get those likes up, guys. Really smash the like button. Share the videos, support the channel as always, all that good stuff. But Eddie Hearn basically was defending Canelo Alvarez. Obviously, there's a great relationship between Eddie Hearn and Canelo Alvarez now. And Canelo obviously works with Eddie Hearn. I think he gets on well. I think he likes Eddie Hearn. He thinks he's one of the best promoters in the world. I think they have a great chemistry. And they've always had a great chemistry, even when Canelo was with Golden Boy. They've always had that great chemistry. I think, for me personally, I think Eddie Hearn and Canelo make a great match. I think Eddie Hearn's a guy who tries to break boundaries. And what I mean by that is he's a bit like Canelo. Canelo wants to create his legacy, wants to continue to do things that enhance his legacy. And Hearn's the same. Hearn wants to break boundaries. And I think they're a great pairing because Hearn, for me, if Canelo, I know Canelo's right now, he's a free agent and he goes and does what he wants to do. I do think Canelo shouldn't do what Floyd did, which just fight in America. I do think if Canelo really wants to be a global superstar, I think he should fight in other countries. I think he should fight in the UK. I think he should fight in Saudi Arabia. I even think he should go to I know going to India and stuff may not work because I don't know how big the thing, but what I mean is Saudi Arabia is a good place for him to go, or Dubai. It's a good place for him to fight. I feel like he should fight in Asia. He should fight in even Africa. He should fight in, obviously he fights in America. He should even do one big fight in Mexico. I know he fought early on in Mexico, but since he became a superstar, I don't really think he's fought in Mexico. So what I'd want Canelo to do, I'd love Canelo to do a world tour. I'd love Canelo to go and fight everywhere in Europe, in Asia, in Africa, just to make his name, because I feel like he needs to do something different. I feel a lot of these guys, these top American, and Canelo's Mexican fighter, but they base themselves in America, but they don't really leave America, and it's kind of like they never really give an opportunity for their UK fans or their fans in Asia, because remember, boxing's a worldwide sport. Canelo is a champion of the world, not champion of America. He's champion of the world. And I want to see Canelo's talents be taken to other parts of the world. And not just Canelo, but other fighters. I feel like too many fighters just, like Mayweather did it, where Mayweather didn't, and I do think Mayweather didn't become as big as Ali. Ali fought all over the world. He fought in Europe. He fought did he fight in Asia? I believe he did. He fought in Asia. He fought in Africa. He fought everywhere. And that to me is very important, because you are a world champion, not fighting in Vegas all the time. I feel like fighters should go out and fight in other parts of the world. And I believe Canelo Alvarez probably has that on his to-do list, because like I said, Canelo is all about legacy. He's all about enhancing his legacy. That's why I think Hearn would take him to different territories. I definitely think that Canelo Alvarez should consider fighting in the UK, definitely Asia, Africa. I think these are places where Canelo can really enhance his profile further and become a mega global star. I feel like Canelo's a superstar, but I don't think, like I was saying the other day, like he's not as big as Mike. And listen, he may never be as big as Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson just had that aura about him. He just had that name. Ali, these are like icons, so it's very difficult to get to their levels in terms of popularity and fame. But Canelo Alvarez won't hurt himself if he goes and fights in other parts of the world. I do think Mayweather's legacy and Mayweather's popularity could have been, or his name and fame could have been even more, right? Bearing in mind, Mayweather had the advantage of social media, with guys like Mike and Ali didn't have. And this is what I'm trying to say. I feel like if Canelo go and fights in other parts of the world, he'll become much bigger star with the fact that he's got social media. But if you look at social media, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Mike Tyson has got a bigger following on social media than Canelo Alvarez. It shows how big a superstar Mike Tyson is, when social media wasn't even around when Mike was fighting. And Mike Tyson still has a bigger following than Canelo. Do you see what I mean? And I guarantee you a lot of that following is not just America, it's all over the world, Mike Tyson. And that's what I'm trying to say. I think Canelo needs to take his talents, because he's so good. he needs to take his talents to other parts of the world. I would love to see Canelo to fight in Mexico. He's fought in Mexico, but what I mean is now, when he's a superstar, when he's the top of his game, I'd love to see him fight in Mexico, maybe against Benavidez. Then I would love to see him go and fight in Saudi Arabia. I'd love to go and see him fight in Africa. Just all over the world, all over the globe. I definitely think Canelo would benefit from that, from a profile point of view. Not to say he really cares about his profile anymore, because he is a superstar as it is, but I only think it won't hurt his profile, and he'll be even bigger globally if he does that. And also, I think, like I said, he's champion of the world. I feel like a lot of these superstars and big names should go around and fight all over the world. I feel like the older generation spent too much time in America. And listen, I get that's where all the money was at, in America, where the big fights happen. But now I feel like it's not. I feel like there's huge money in the UK. I feel like there's huge money in Saudi Arabia. I feel like there'd be huge money in Africa for someone like Canelo. So I feel like there's huge money out there for all these, for guys like Canelo now anyway. So personally, I would love to see Canelo take his talents all over the world. And in terms of what Eddie Hearn had to say, Eddie Hearn also said, well, Canelo Alvarez doesn't duck any fight, and he was defending Canelo Alvarez. I agree with Eddie Hearn. Canelo Alvarez doesn't duck anyone. Canelo Alvarez, people keep talking about him ducking this guy, the other, but who's got a resume like him? And people keep saying, oh, well, Canelo's not fought elite fighters and this, that, the other, he's fighting this. Come on. Those other guys can get away with it, but Canelo can't get away with it fighting a Rocky Fielding. Just that's a one fight which he had it out of so many, good champions he fought. And the point I'm trying to make is that Eddie Hearn is right in the sense that Canelo seems to get a lot of stick all the time. People saying he's ducking, and basically what Eddie Hearn said, that Canelo is all about legacy. If the fight makes sense for him, like he looks at the Benavidez fight and says, what does that fight really do for my legacy? Well, he looks at going up and fighting Makabu, that I'm winning another world title. I'm becoming a cruiserweight world champion. That's something ticked off on my CV. That's how Canelo thinks. That's how I would think. And I was really unhappy with Amir Khan, for example, a guy that I looked up to and a guy that I followed, is because I feel like Amir Khan should have done more in terms of a title. Like, yeah, he beat a lot of good guys on the, but from a title point of view, Amir Khan was only champion at 140. He was a unified champion at 140, but I think he should have become a champion at welterweight. He could have even become a champion at 154 with the right guy. I feel like Amir Khan didn't really fight for belts enough. I feel like when you look back at his legacy from a belts point of view, it's not as great as it should have been. Because for me, Amir Khan should have been a 3-weight world champion. But Canelo Alvarez is ticking off those boxes. See, Canelo looks at it is that fighting Benavidez, okay, it's a fight, but what do I get? The reason why he wanted to fight Caleb Plant, Billy Joe, and all those guys, because he knew he'd become undisputed. It ticks off, I became undisputed champion. Now I want to go up and fight at cruiserweight. Then he'll come back down and maybe look to clean out the 175, because it's all about legacy for Canelo Alvarez. It's not about the name and this, that, the other, because at the end of the day, if Canelo fights Benavidez, fights Andrade, fights Charlo, he's a favorite to beat all of those guys. The bookies would have Canelo a significant favorite in those fights. And what does he gain by beating them? What does he get? He looks at it, what do I gain? Like, yeah, if he doesn't fight, then there'll be a few people say he ducked them. But he looks at it from his point of view. He looks at it that, I want to go to cruiserweight and win a world title. I want to go to heavyweight and maybe, that's how Canelo thinks. Now, people may say he's not fighting the best guy at cruiserweight. No, he's not, but he's looking at it from a legacy point of view. I've won a cruiserweight world title. I went and fought Kovalev. I won a 175 title. Nobody can take that away from Canelo. Oh, I was undisputed at 168. Nobody's going to look at who he fought. People are going to look at who, he was undisputed. That goes down on your CV, and that's what Canelo's all about. I don't understand why people give, Canelo such a hard time. That's what Canelo's all about. Canelo wants to have a legacy where he can say he was a 5-weight world champion, where he beat 25 world champions. That's the kind of legacy he wants to create. Now, if you don't have anything Canelo wants from a legacy standpoint, he's not going to want to fight you. That's the point I'm trying to make, is that Canelo is all about legacy. Does an Andrade fight enhance his legacy? Maybe slightly, But I believe a Makabu fight enhances his legacy because he wins a cruiserweight world title. You know, and as Eddie Reynoso said, I feel like we live in an era where nowadays champions are less credible than contenders. And he's right. Makabu is a champion. Irrespective of what you think, he's a cruiserweight world champion. He's no bum. He's a proper fighter. Just because you don't know about... Okay, how many of you knew about Isaac Cruz? Be honest. How many of you knew about Isaac Cruz before he fought Gervonta Davis? He put a great account of himself, didn't he? I thought he lost, but he gave a great account of himself and he came close to toppling Gervonta Davis. But everyone said before the fight it was a cherry. Everyone was saying, oh, well, Gervonta's fighting another cherry. Isaac's this, Isaac's that. Come on. Let's get real about things. Makabu is no cherry. He's a champion. He's a difficult fight for Canelo Alvarez. Canelo is not a big guy. He's a small guy. Makabu's huge. In those higher weight classes, it takes one punch and it's all over. Yes, is Canelo favorite? Yes. But to make out it's not a dangerous fight and somehow Benavidez isn't a dangerous fight. How is Benavidez? Benavidez is not a big puncher, is he? Is Benavidez a big puncher? Benavidez isn't a big puncher. So he's not going to hurt Canelo. So you're telling me he's going to outwork him and win a points decision? Because he's not going to knock Canelo out. He struggled to get, was it Chiron? I think Chiron. Like, he struggled to get him out of there. You know, that fight was stopped by the corner, if I'm not mistaken. So how do you guys think he's going to all of a sudden knock out Canelo, who's got probably one of the best chins in the game? You know, it is what it is. It is what it is. And I agree with Eddie Hearn. Canelo Alvarez doesn't duck any fighter. He's not. He'll fight anyone. He'll fight literally anyone. And that's my take on it. Leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And guys, remember to please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.